I work them up to this so that by the time they get to this step, they're like, oh yeah, I'm like master of blow. I can finish this no problem. A little bit hairy. So that's something to recommend. Finally, a couple of business tips. Learn data parsing, sorry. That's where you've got stuff written in an XML file, and you learn how to bring that data into your game. This is useful for a million different things. It's useful if you've got saved game information stored in like if you're using Flash, there's like a Flash cookie, and then you're able to bring it back up and parse it and inflate it into useful information for your game. It's great if you've got XML stuff, because if your game is multilingual, did I say something? Yeah, language independent games. FPIGs can account for 40% of revenues. FPIGs is, used to be EFIGs, and now it's like EFPIGs. French, Portuguese, Italian, German, and Spanish. So man, if you make a bunch of different files and they're external to the game and they're all in different languages, you learn how to parse those external XML files and just inject the data into your game into all those dynamic text fields, then you can make a bunch more money than you would have with just English. 2-ish minutes. 2-ish. I'm 2-ish on my mother's side. Game engines with external logic. We've got one that's really cool. It's a graphic adventure game, and all the logic from when you talk to the characters, all their lines, even like what happens when you click on stuff, all of that's described in an XML file, which is crazy. And then we bring the information in and we parse it, so we're able to figure out what the game engine's supposed to do when they click on a thing, right? So it's really good. Control panels. Customers are dumb, or they're not tech savvy, so they can't figure out how to write XML files, even though XML is pretty simple. So you can write all your information in an XML file and then wrap that in a thing that reads it in, so that they can change the XML, and then it spits it back out to an XML file that your game reads in and does the stuff that the game needs to do. So this is the kind of stuff, and this is a competitive advantage that we have over the other people who are in our industry, because we set up a lot of stuff for clients where they don't want to pay us after the fact, because we're expensive. Flash people are expensive. So we set them up with a panel where they can just tweak everything themselves and they don't have to talk to us. But we did such a great job, and they like that so much that they do. They call us up again. It's nice. Ad rep share stinks. Talked about that yesterday. I've got a series on the blog called Pimp My Game. I love pimps. The blog is filled with lots of useful articles and stuff on ActionScript and tips and things on Unity. This one was a really popular series. I took a game that wasn't that good, but I thought, okay, how much money can I get for it? And I ran it through a bunch of these things that we're talking about, Moshi ads, and I put it on a bunch of portals, and I reported the numbers. And at the time I stopped writing the series, that's what the graph looked like. So that's almost a year, and I'd made 70 bucks. But I mean, hey, that's 70 bucks. And it was a game that I built at a game jam. And so it took me about 20 hours to build the game, put it up on this stuff. I put that and Blowed Up, and over 2 years I pulled in $200, but I mean, it's 200 bucks, right? That's just residual income. And you can imagine if you're the guy I mentioned from Russia who's got like Awesome Force 1, and then he does Awesome Force 2 and Awesome Force 3, and every single time he releases a new version, people are like, oh, I gotta go play Awesome Force 1 to figure out what's going on. Not really. Then he's getting ad revenue for every single one of those, and he's just sitting back laughing because he's the money, if you do it long enough, is just rolling in for him. App Store's a bad gamble. I don't like it. Don't listen to the guy in the turtleneck. He's a bad man. This is a Dan Cook point. Andy mentioned Dan Cook, but Dan Cook says stick to the Wild West, where there are no big gatekeepers to crush you down. His point was really good. He said nobody ever made an App Store game except to sell more iPhones. Right? It's not a platform for you. It's a platform for Apple. This other stuff, when you're coming in at the ground level, these are platforms for you to make money. Hopefully. Flash is not dead. There's 2 million of us developing for it. It's 98% install base. It's the most installed piece of software on the face of the earth. People are like, oh, HTML5 is going to kill it. Well, that's like if they stop ever building Flash today. But Flash is going to evolve just as HTML5 is going to evolve. Use the right tool for the job, and HTML5 can get its ass handed to it by a lot of stuff that Flash can do. They're like, HTML5 can do video. That's great. Flash can take 6 videos and map them to a 3D cube, spin it, and when you click on it, all those shatter into birds. Yeah, so Apple, I don't trust them. I don't trust them. This is my last point. Get a Twitter account. Yeah, really. really get a Twitter account. You must be like, what? I don't care what everybody had for lunch. You're following the wrong people on Twitter if that's all you're seeing on Twitter. Twitter is like having the email address of everyone you're not allowed to have an email address for. You can hit, I'm giving you my email address, but you can hit me up on Twitter, not like I'm big, hot shit or anything, but you can just find like CEOs and stuff of companies, and they're on Twitter, and you just be like, hey dude from giant company A, can I ask you a question? And you fire a question, maybe they get back to you. That's way better than never, ever, ever knowing how to contact that person. So you can hit up people that you would never have access to before, even if they don't respond to you. I get a lot of people not responding to me, but you follow them, and it's almost as if you're reading their emails and stuff. They talk about what they're doing, and they give you their opinions, and you find up-to-the-minute stuff. I mean, the news stuff, oh god, the news stuff is ridiculous. Like, you'll find out there will be an earthquake somewhere, and 2 seconds later they'll be like, help, I'm in an earthquake, and I'm on Twitter, right? You're like, oh my god. You'll be like, hey, check this out, there's an earthquake, right? So this dissemination of information is incredible. One of you guys asked me about a Flash platformer framework, and I couldn't remember the name of it. So I just popped up on Twitter, I'm like, hey everybody, who knows the name of a Flash platform framework? And they told me the one I was trying to think of, and then they gave me like 6 more. So I'm like, oh, badass. So I just listed them for the student who asked me. Twitter, awesome. Gameplay testing, if you want somebody to go test your game. Andy was mentioning a service yesterday that Flash Game License does, but Andy's loaded, so he's got the money to pay for that. Some of us don't. What is it, like $1? No, how much is it, Andy?
It's $1 each, but they do give you like a dozen free ones.
Yeah, okay, so $1 a player. So you can do that when you're awesome, or you can just go try to source people on Twitter like I do. So it'll be like, hey everybody, I got this game, and play it. TickSource, another great place to do that. You can upload your file and play your game. And like I said, up to the second news. So, hope that's been a little bit helpful. I'd love to give you some Unity demos if you want to see it, never seen it. Otherwise, go forth and game. Thank you.
So, we're going to be heading down to the barbecue for those of you, but if anyone wants to pick around and ask Mark a few questions, I'm sure he doesn't mind.
That'd be wonderful.
So we can take questions right now.
Oh, questions right now. Okay.
The rest of you vacate to the barbecue.
They want burgers.
Any questions? I'd love to answer your questions. Nobody's got questions. That's okay.
I just want to make you
I know, right? So you just stand up here and you're like, please, somebody ask a question. But nobody does, and they're all like, we want juicy burgers. Yes? Oh, it's 3 years in July. So yeah, and the real trick is, the way I describe the way the business works, is it's like a teeter-totter with 2 buckets, money buckets. And this one is our service teeter-totter bucket, and it's full, or that's where all the cash comes from. But we want the original production bucket to be full. So we take the service work stuff and we throw money up to that other bucket to slowly make the teeter-totter do this. So I'm hoping the business plan is that eventually we'll do this and we'll be able to work on all our own stuff instead of the Cheese Whiz game or Tempted. We do, yeah, we do. I didn't mention that off the top, but we do contracts for mostly TV studios. Yes?
How many folks do you have working for you?
There are 2 full-time employees. My wife works half-time doing bookkeeping, which is awesome because she's free. And we have currently 4 other people on contract, which was just dwindled down to 3 other people on contract. So there's 5 of us working on Spilarium right now. And we have government funding. One big secret that you might not have heard yet is that there's not a single creative production in Canada, be it a movie, TV show, film, video game, that is not built with taxpayer money. Not a one, and I defy you to show me a single one that's not built with taxpayer money from funding. So that's another great thing. If you can really investigate the funds, and some are coming up in New Brunswick, and there are Canada-wide ones like the CMF, the experimental stream, find out about that stuff. I mean, that might sound like oh God, Creighton, that's way beyond me, I have no idea, right? Find out as early as possible, because if you ever want to do something on your own and you don't have rich money, that's how you're going to do it to start, hopefully to start. Please don't go back to the trough year after year after year. That really drives me nuts. But get that money, leverage it, make a game, make some money, and try to use that to springboard. Find out about these funds. It's a pain in the ass to apply. It takes weeks to write an application. Weeks. And we tried for 2 years to get our funding for Spilarium. We went 3 times to 2 different funds, and each time the application takes about 2 weeks to write. So that's time that we could have spent making money on something else. So it's an investment, but we finally got the cash, and now we're building a game with it. Yay! Yay! See you at the barbecue.